We're rolling through the 6 o'clock hour. Officer Brian Wolf is joining us here on the show. 15 years of service. He's currently serving as a Mission Hills patrol officer. And before we get to some of the things that you deal with, Brian, how about this? You were telling us during the break, you started this at 42 years old, huh? You became a cop at 42, and here you are 15 years later.
That's correct.
How did that come about? What's that story?
So I actually came from a background of advertising and marketing. Graduated KU, University of Kansas, in advertising and marketing. Always wanted to be a police officer. Back at that time, Overland Park had a reserve program that I had put in for. Just wasn't mature enough to work for them, so I went ahead and went with my degree, worked for some advertising agencies here in town. And then when the economy went bad in 2008, I was let go, was a stay-at-home dad for a couple years, and then started getting interested in police work again, so I started putting applications in. Unbeknownst to my wife, I was taking physical fitness tests and application tests, things like that. Finally, she came to me one day and knew I was a little frustrated being a stay-at-home dad, and she said, well, why don't you go do what you've always wanted to do? I said, well, it's funny you mentioned that because I'm in the process at Prairie Village, Leawood, and Overland Park, and luckily Prairie Village offered me a job, so I took it with this agency.
And she took it well?
Not at first. But it was kind of a natural fit because I actually grew up in Prairie Village.
Okay.
So my parents lived here at the time, so it was just a natural fit. Went to school here in the area. So
That's great.
It was a good fit for me.
That's great. So you start this at 42. You do D.A.R.E for a while. I know you got a book that's on Amazon. Of course, it's Officer Brian Wolf, and the book is There's a Wolf in the Classroom, and that's going to be about your experiences working with the kids and doing D.A.R.E and all that?
That's correct. Yeah.
Now, that's going to be something that has changed quite a bit over the years because, now we talk about these fentanyl pills these kids got to deal with. It's not just about, hey, don't smoke pot and don't drink. It's a lot more complex these days, I got to imagine.
Right. Well, with the D.A.R.E program, I was lucky when I got involved. They had kind of changed their curriculum.
Okay.
Up to that point, it was kind of the Nancy Reagan era, just say no, things like that. But what D.A.R.E did is they opened it up and started making it more about risks and consequences and educating the kids and putting all the facts in front of them. So that's what I really tried to do. When I was going through it, that's when vapes started coming up. And, I had kindergartners that knew what a Juul was.
Oh, geez.
So there was definitely a need to address that, talk about the risks, consequences, things like that. So it wasn't so much telling the kids no directly, but indirectly educating them with the facts, what the hazards are. Hopefully when they find themselves in that situation, that knowledge kicks in and they make the right decision of not partaking.
Wow. Geez, that's, and it's only gotten crazier since then. So Mission Hills is where you do your patrol now, and there's going to be this perception, well, it's Mission Hills. And I sit here and I've always thought, hey, they're just on the other side of the state line. You're right between KCK and KCMO, and everyone knows that, as you put it during the break, if you want to fish, you go where the fish are. And there's a lot of fish in Mission Hills. You were telling us about how there was a crime uptick a couple of years ago, mostly stolen vehicles, things like that. What have been some of those issues the last couple of years that have popped up there in Mission Hills?
Well, we're fortunate in both Prairie Village and Mission Hills to be in very safe cities. Mm-hmm. And with that, people tend to be a little bit more trusting with regards to their homes and their belongings and things like that. So it's not uncommon, and I know this happens in other cities too, but obviously I'm closer to it because I'm in Mission Hills, of people not closing their garage doors or maybe leaving their keys in their car while it's parked out front, maybe leaving valuables in the vehicle overnight. So those are the things that, unfortunately, the bad people prey on, and if they hit one or two houses and are able to steal a car or steal personal information, laptops, things like that, then they're just going to keep coming back. Mm-hmm. So we've really tried to educate the citizens up there about making sure their valuables are secured, not left in the vehicles, make sure their garage doors are closed, things of that nature.
And and you hate to say that trusting mentality's gone away, but at least they've woken up to some of those realities the last couple of years. Is that a good way to put it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. And what has that been like from your perspective? Are you involved with some of those educational things as a patrol officer, or is that more done in the communities and the neighborhoods?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Facebook groups that are in different neighborhoods that talk about things that they've seen or suspicious people or cars getting broken into. But we also do a lot of education with regards to residents up there, just letting them know, hey, things have changed. Don't leave your valuables in your car. keep things locked up. If you have a garage and you have a space, pull your car in, close the garage door, things like that.
Yeah, do things like that. Yeah. So as you're sitting there and you're working with Mission Hills, working, of course, with Prairie Village, how does this part of the county kind of work together? We talked about Officer Oswald and what happened to him, the tragedy there in Fairway. I know a lot of people in the area knew him in law enforcement, but you guys are still putting your lives at risk every day, whether it's KCMO or it's Mission Hills, Prairie Village, it doesn't matter. So how did that change any mindset for you guys in the wake of that tragedy just a few months ago?
I mean, it sounds bad. Whenever there's a tragedy like that, I always look at it as, okay, what can we learn from it? I mean, it was an unfortunate incident, but what are some things that maybe we can improve on to keep that from happening again? And I would like to think most officers think that. We see a lot of body cam videos that aren't necessarily released to the public, and we use them for training purposes, things like that. It could be traffic accidents involving a police vehicle, uses of force, things like that. So we try it and, like I said, learn from it, apply it, maybe even implement new tactics to keep something like that from happening again.
Are you wrapping up your shift, or are you just starting it?
I'm just starting.
Okay, you're just starting. Okay, all right. So as you look through kind of the future of what you do in Mission Hills and kind of this part of Johnson County in particular, is there something you want to make sure that folks know, that they think about, that is on their minds about what you guys do that maybe doesn't get enough attention here in the area and nationally as well in law enforcement?
That's a tough question, actually. I guess the biggest thing is just knowing we're out there. I always tell people, because some folks I talk to always have the mindset, well, I didn't want to bother you guys. I didn't think I needed to call the police. It's like, you know your neighborhood better than anybody else.
Yeah.
Better than the police are going to know it. So if you see something suspicious, call us. We'll come check it out, because I always have the mindset that the safest place on earth should be in your own home. And if you're not safe at where you live and there's something wrong, then that needs to be corrected. And maybe the police need to get involved, or codes, or whatever the case is, to make it where you truly feel safe. Mm-hmm. And just know that the police are always there. We work for you, taxpayers, and if there's something that you have questions about, let us know.
Officer Brian Wolf, 15 years, got into this in his early 40s. He is now a Mission Hills patrol officer, and it's great to have you here. Thanks so much for the time.
I appreciate it.
Awesome. Brian Wolf on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. Coming up, we will get to Kendall Gammon, get you set for the game this weekend against the Dolphins, and we do have that last pair of Chris Stapleton tickets on this show on KCMO.